Okay, movie marathon night, let's go. The original vampire, love this one. What's he signing? Oh no, it's a real estate contract, isn't it? No, don't sign that! Romantic newlyweds, candles, lace, drama. Wait, she's signing what? A property transfer? Lady, that's not true love. That's a hostile merger. Please, no more paperwork. Oh, great. Now it's will, signed in secret. Don't sign the will! You're all gonna die! They're dying in the order that they signed? Okay, these aren't horror movies. These are document horror movies. And we need to talk about it. Welcome back to the Traveling Notary, the series where we explore how notaries shape history, culture, and sometimes the supernatural. Today, in the spirit of Halloween, we are diving into a darker territory, which I like to call document horror. These are the stories where the horror doesn't start with a monster, but it starts with a contract, a will, a signature, a document that sets off a chain of terrifying consequences. So tonight, settle in. Grab your notary journal for comfort, because I've got 3 chilling tales where the paperwork triggers terror. Let's begin with a familiar story of a man, a castle, and a real estate transaction gone deadly. In the 1922 silent horror film Nosferatu, the story begins not with a bite, but with, of all things, a real estate contract. Thomas Hutter, solicitor, is sent to Transylvania to close a property sale with Count Orlok, who is definitely not a motivated buyer. He's a vampire seeking new hunting grounds, but little does Hutter know, this is a contractual trap. Orlok manipulates Hutter into signing a contract that not only transfers a property, but effectively gives Orlok legal access to Hutter's wife, Ellen. This storyline reflects real predatory real estate contracts from the 19th century in Europe, where illiterate or desperate people were tricked into signing away their property or rights. Document horror lesson number 1. Evil doesn't need fangs, it needs fine print. Could this deal happen today? Not if a notary was involved. A U.S. notary's duty is to prevent coercion and fraud. Any sign of intimidation or misunderstanding, and sorry, Orlok, that deed would not be notarized. But Nosferatu is not the only villain who used paperwork as a weapon. Crimson Peak gives us Gothic romance with a sharp legal edge. Heiress Edith Cushing marries the mysterious Sir Thomas Sharp, but her new husband and his sister have a plan. Marry wealthy women, transfer their estates, and then kill them once the paperwork clears. Called efficient horror by inheritance law. In Victorian England, women had few legal rights over their property. Their husbands controlled their wealth unless protected by something called a marriage settlement, an early form of a prenup. Edith doesn't have one. Once she signs the transfer documents, her fortune is legally gone, and her life may be next. Document horror lesson number 2. Never sign away assets without legal protection. Also, if your romantic partner insists that you sign the documents alone in an attic, maybe don't. Would a notary prevent this? Maybe. A U.S. notary today must screen for willingness and awareness. Edith was under duress and drugged. That signature should never have been accepted. In Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, the murders begin after the signing of a secret new will. Wealthy Van Garrett changes his estate plan, and suddenly people connected to that will start turning up dead. Witnesses, beneficiaries, executors, boom, headless. The story actually reflects real will disputes of the 18th and 19th centuries, when forged or secret wills were common in families with land or title. Back then, wills were not always standardized. Fraud, coercion, and contested signatures were so rampant that notaries began to play a role in identifying signers and verifying authenticity. And yes, in the movie, a notary character divulges the secret will to the young police constable Ichabod Crane, effectively attaching the murders to motive. Document horror lesson number 3. When there's money on the line, signatures can become dangerous. Contested wills still happen today, which is why some attorneys prefer self-proving affidavits, notarized at the time of signature, to reduce fraud claims later. Nosferatu, Crimson Peak, Sleepy Hollow, 3 different tales, one terrifying truth. Documents hold power. A signature can seal your fate faster than any ghost or ghoul. That's why legal literacy matters. That's why fraud prevention matters. That's why notaries exist. So this Halloween, while you're watching your favorite horror movies, look for the contract behind the curse. Because in the world of document horror, the scariest monster is an unnotarized signature. If you want more episodes like this, drop in the comments and tell me which of your favorite horror movies uses a document horror as a plot point. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and happy haunting. I'm the Traveling Notary, signing off. I'll see you next time.